Hi, I'm Mark Stewart Greenstein. If you're watching for the first time, I am candidate for governor of Connecticut. I hope you'll watch more. This is to address another 3 questions raised April 5th. Didn't get asked though, and I want to let any who wanted to attend that DTC meeting or did attend but didn't hear these answers to listen now. Number 4 at this point. How will you combat the impact on the border towns as a result of tolls? Asked as if it's a done deal with tolls. And I'm not sure the legislature is going to follow through on tolling. There's so much anti-toll sentiment. Well, maybe there should be, because there's a much better proposal out there. It's mine. Now, I'd like not to wait until I become governor, and I've given that proposal to 2 of our legislators. Let's see what they can do with it. Instead of tolls, use mileage-based user fees. I think user fees are the most fair type of tax out there. You pay for what you use. And it's not tied to just the 4-lane highways, which the current tolling plan does. It doesn't require gantries to be constructed. It doesn't require 3 or 4 years worth of studies on impact of where people will exit and get back onto highways to potentially save tolling, but cause more traffic in towns. Fair user fees can be done with an onboard device. The smart cars that we've had since 1998 allow so much data to be captured by a group that will toll fairly. Fairly to me means on any roads. It doesn't have to be just the 4-lane highways. And fair could be based on the weight of your vehicle. Okay? Heavily loaded trucks will pay more. SUVs will be somewhere in between. Little Hyundais will cost less. You're doing less damage to our roads. You shouldn't be paying as much. But you pay per mile. How much? Let the legislature decide. This could be a big revenue gainer. It could be mild. 3 cents a mile would be my proposal. Drive all the way across the state. It's about 110 miles. It costs you $3.30. People who commute on highways aren't going to be the only ones paying the toll day in, day out. And yes, outer-staters could have their mileage captured as well. I would do it in a positive way, though. You've entered Connecticut for the first time, pull over to our welcome station. Have an onboard device, which is required by law. And here's a welcome basket while you're at it. Here's some places you might encounter along your route. Restaurants, Whole Foods markets, all kinds of neat things that Connecticut can offer you and Connecticut businesses can profit from. That would be my way of welcoming people, taxing them fairly, and getting a whole lot of revenue, no tolls needed. All right, second, what is your position on a full-time legislature? I generally would like less government. I worry that a full-time legislature brings with it far more expense and far more lobbyists trying to extract via government favors for them. So I would not like to see more days in office. Now, I do recognize there's a lot of issues before the legislature that they're going to have to resolve over the next 2 months. So get down to business well. My proposal would be, there's so much important business and so few days to do it. Trust fellow committees. The 15 to maybe as many as 40 who would be on a given committee, they investigate, they do the hearings, but they're only doing 1/10 to 1/4 of the work. And when it comes before the General Assembly, it is pretty much a rubber stamp. You got to trust another branch to do it well. Now, if over and over there's one committee that's just not doing the job well, okay, General Assemblyman can vote against. But I think there should be the presumption of my fellow legislators who are specialists in transportation, they're going to figure it out, we rubber stamp. My other fellow legislators who are specialists in environmental protection, they're going to figure it out, and we will rubber stamp. That way the legislature doesn't grow. Final one. How do you plan to engage young voters? Well, I already do. Remember, I am an educator. I've taught over 4,000 Connecticut students, helped them to better college acceptances over the last 15 years. And even now in the campaign, I'm in schools. Now, they tend to like me too. A lot of high school students like that I am socially liberal, fiscally quite conservative. A lot of youngsters are generally turned off by politicians, and they kind of are open to newbies, outsiders, if you will, like me. And they should, because politicians continue to lie to them, and they're not stupid. They get it. Stop lying to the populace. We lie about the harmful effects of marijuana. That it's a tier 1 scheduled drug? No way! It has been banned because Richard Nixon used it as a way to garner white votes of people who didn't like minority elements having more freedom. It was banned or put on Schedule 1 at the same time as peyote, another harmless drug, Schedule 1. For political purposes, young people who've experimented with marijuana, they're done. Their high's over. They haven't done anything destructive to themselves or other people. And they say, what's up with this illegality? They recognize that marijuana is a gateway drug only because you've made it illegal. Stop lying about fiscal stuff. There is not going to be Social Security left for people 30 years from now. Young people get it. They don't bank on any money coming back. They just don't want to have so much of it extracted from them. So when they hear that, oh, I'm protecting Social Security from a politician, they know it's a lie. Social Security is by every measure other than government bankrupt. Okay? If the Social Security Trust Fund were run privately, they'd be shut down faster than Enron ever was because it is being run fraudulently. Please send this video on to your grandkids who might not realize that there's a public servant. I don't call myself a politician. Public servant who's got kids' interests in mind, and they might, for the first time, want to be voting. I am Mark Stewart. I hope I'll earn their vote and yours. Thanks for following.